Hello, everybody. I'm Brydon, and welcome to Film Speakeasy. My guests today are so interesting, and so is their series, the cast of Máiréad Tyers, and of course, the main leads here telling me everything, dropping all the tea.
That's right.
So, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just having a conversation with Rob and Anna about the fact that it only helps that this comes right after Bridgerton has ended, and everybody just wanted more of that period romance, because which everybody is talking about. And from the trailer, both of you share very interesting chemistry, and I think it's added to all of that, right? So, what do you think? Are you all Bridgerton fans, and do you think this is just absolutely impeccable timing?
I think we're in a real moment at the moment when people love this sort of thing, a fun, sexy, romantic period drama, and we're so happy to sort of add to that plethora of work that's being made at the moment. But I think also at the same time we have some elements in this that make it very unique and a little bit different. I love Bridgerton. I think it's an amazing show. But Máiréad Tyers has a lot of aspects, a sort of fantastical aspects that I think
adventure.
Really,
it's very adventurous
as well. A lot of action, I would say.
Yeah, it's action packed.
That sort of separates it from a lot of the things that we're seeing on TV at the moment as well. So it's sort of similar in some ways, but we've also got.
I think it has that sort of romantic period drama that me and everyone on the planet is obsessed with, and then we just have some other amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So all together, it's gonna be good.
I think, Emily, I must say, how have you made such impeccable chemistry with a horse as well? It's not easy.
Well, I do love working with animals. Do you know, it was funny. I didn't know how we were going to go about working with the animals because obviously I think we can say this, there is a fantastical element with live animal actors, which don't always want to perform. But, I think this is going to sound so cheesy, but I think animals are very emotionally intelligent creatures. So they were actually pretty good scene partners.
Far better than me, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Way more emotionally intelligent than I am.
You might get recast.
Yeah.
The horses especially.
No, we like Edward too.
Oh yeah,
good. Thank you, actually. Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah, I'm okay. But
yeah,
the horses were amazing.
No, they were. But like I was talking about chemistry, right? People talk so much about that, and in this case, it was very important because you have to be those moments, those meet cutes, those absolutely passionate meet cutes that every period romance must have, so that people, of course, refer to it and discuss it and have threads and everything on X and discussions. So you have those moments here. I want to know, because both of you have such an easty vibe, and obviously you're off-screen love friends. How is the vibe post that cut is said? Is that, are you able to hold on to that moment or burst out and laughing immediately? Tell us about that.
I think it depended on the day.
It depends on the day.
Sometimes it was it's so funny acting opposite someone who's such a great friend of yours and doing these sort of quite intimate or romantic scenes. Yeah. And occasionally, they call cut and it is just the funniest thing ever. You can't believe what you've been doing.
Because it is a bit silly, that part of this job. I mean, you have the camera crew who you've now made best friends with just sort of being
yeah, a camera in your
face. Here.
While you sort of, while you are in, quite intimate scenarios. But I think we were looked after so well by intimacy coordinator, director, everybody who is a part of creating scenes like that involve, a romantic element. And so I just felt very safe the whole time with you.
Yeah, there were definitely moments where we were having a hard time keeping it together because it is so funny.
Yeah.
But then there's also scenes where we do have these sort of, like you said, romantic elements that you really have to nail. So you're kind of keeping yourself mentally in the actor's space.
Oh my gosh.
And it is something, it's like a choreography. So you really have to focus. So we tried to keep it together most of the time.
With mixed.
You guys keep it together. Did Edward help you focus?
No.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
The problem is we have a very similar sense of humor. so it's hard to not just be a bit silly.
Yeah.
No, you did help me focus. I mean,
Good, I'm glad.
no, you did. And also to just sort
Good
of,
influence sometimes.
you know, like Jane and Guilford are going through a lot in this story, and sometimes there's a lot of tension, and we needed to sort of get into those headspaces beforehand. So I think we would, help each other in that way.
Yeah.
If I'm going to try and see, I'm going to make you a very simple thing. I'm going to make you say, I love you in Hindi. Are you ready for it?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we gotta listen really well.
You say, मैं
मैं
तुमसे
मैं तुमसे
बहुत प्यार
बहुत प्यार
करती हूँ. You will say करती हूँ, and he will say करता हूँ. So you can look at each other and say, मैं तुमसे बहुत प्यार करता हूँ, and you can say करती हूँ.
We're really gonna butcher this.
You have a much nicer way of saying I love you.
You can say बहुत प्यार also to each other.
It's so much fun. You can
बहुत प्यार.
बहुत प्यार.
मैं तुमसे बहुत
How was my
प्यार.
pronunciation there?
Not bad. I think most of India is now going to be fans. You were tempted at it.
Good.
Hey,
we truly tried.
We gave it a go.
बहुत
Thank
प्यार.
you for
I
letting
would say
us.
बहुत प्यार.
बहुत प्यार.
Thank you so much.
So cute.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll have to end it. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
My guests today are very special. The cast of My Lady Jane, extremely talented. I'm so excited to be chatting with them. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having us.
You know, today, now if I can call this the genre, this fusion of, the kind of the Jane Austen world with a little touch of modernity. And that's the entire concept, right? And you have seen a few series that have had this little fusion. Let's kind of, give it a modern take. A lot of purists kind of feel like, is this necessary? But I think a lot of people who like art to be in different ways appreciate it. When you first heard about the concept, what did you think?
Well, it's just very appealing from the minute you read it, It's interesting you say about the purists. I think to the purists, I say, get out. And to the people who have a degree of imagination, it's such a wonderful thing because you're blending historical fact with the vivid imagination of our writers, and that you end up with something rather unique.
And they can do anything with it because they've decided to blow this world into a sort of fantasy. The writers can go anywhere with it. So it's incredibly exciting what can happen because there are no rules. The rules are off. So before in costume drama, as you say, everything had to be done right. You'd have people saying how you could curtsy, you can't speak to that person, you can't touch that person. But now you can there's a freedom to it. And I think the audience are enjoying that freedom.
I honestly think it's incredible because when you're watching, period dramas, you know that it's obviously done with a sensibility to keep their storyline alive, and then certain things are so problematic. And then, you have a version here and you're like, oh, thank God she's reacting this way because it is weird. So I think it's liberating in a way. As artists, did you feel that you all could do crazy things and, you could have fun with something because it's blurred lines now?
I think it was very liberating to have our main character, Lady Jane Grey, not to have to be repressed and sort of beaten down as would have been what would have happened. The world is open to her, and it's enthralling for people to watch her break out for her freedom. And I think that's fun. That wasn't possible in Tudor England, and it's possible now.
I agree.
Well, I have to say I agree with Anna.
Of course you do.
For once.
I have a very interesting personality on the show today. She's a part of the show that is obviously going to make us all go feeling a little bit more romantic, a little bit funny, and also maybe a little angry at times. But that is what it happens when you change history for fun. Thank you so much for doing this.
What an intro. I love that. And you look amazing. I love your dress.
I like the fact that it's a feminist spin. Because you've seen too many women go down in history in unfavorable ways and extremely, terrible ways. And I like the fact that we're doing this. What did you think when you first heard of the entire concept?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think there's like, why shouldn't it be retold in a different way? And it's not as if it's like historically inaccurate when you think of, let's say, the pressures that's put on Jane and just like women generally in the society. It's like they're very real patriarchal pressures and a structure that like existed then in a very harsh way, but still exists now. Like, there are parallels, like, absolutely between the two times. But yeah, why shouldn't it just be rewritten and for it to kind of feel like a empowering FU to the past? And yeah, it felt like brilliant to be part of something that was like female led and had a real feminist edge and message behind it, while not being while also being funny and romantic and full of heart and devastating at times as well. Yeah.
It must have been really interesting for you to do this post Extraordinary, because you got a lot of love for that as well. Did it help and encourage you that I can do more of these characters, specifically when one have done so well?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and I think like both of these, when you compare the shows, I mean, they couldn't really be more different, to look at. Yet in their content, I think they are very similar. Like, there's a lot, Extraordinary jumps from really heightened comedy to real heart in moments, and this show does the same. Like, both tones are very specific, but there's absolutely a parallel between them. And I think I also loved doing a character that I think is really kind of forthcoming with her opinions, and also but also has to maintain the secret for her whole life, so has to overcome a challenge, which of course, like Jen in Extraordinary, kind of is a similar needing to overcome and grow as a person in order to achieve what she wants. But both exist in completely different worlds, and it was a complete different change and challenge, which I really enjoyed doing.
Unhinged period romances have been getting a lot of love. And I think I was just discussing with the rest of the cast that, this comes right after Bridgerton, which is always a good thing because people are really tuned in and they're going to miss in. And I think that'll help Máiréad Jean as well. What is your take on Bridgerton? What is your take on period romances? Are there any that you have loved, and why?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic when you see, I mean, there's so many fantastic actors who are involved in Bridgerton. It's like a beautifully shot, and the costumes and everything. I think that's what I love the most about period dramas, is when you're watching them, you feel like you're completely taken into a different world, and if you can kind of just completely escape for the hour in which you're watching it, or 4 if you're planning on a binge. But I think the costumes particularly, I adore looking at how well crafted they are, and also the research that goes into creating a world that's however many hundreds of years ago, but feels completely truthful. And also when you see how the different themes that are happening in those times and in those worlds are absolutely still happening now. And I think the thing with Bridgerton is it's just so beautiful to watch people falling in love, and I think it's the same with My Lady Jane. There's such gorgeous romances and connections that form throughout the series, and when you finally see the two characters who you've been pining over for 3 episodes get together, it's so rewarding, and you're like, oh, thank God. And then you watch these beautiful, so well choreographed and beautifully created intimate scenes that I think it's really exciting when you see television being made at such high quality.
And you have some special skills here too, don't you?
Well, are you talking about the fighting?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, they were skills that had to be really crafted and worked on for over many hours. And Cece, our stunt coordinator and fight expert, was remarkable. And any free moment that, I could have been sitting on the side of the stage waiting, he was like, right, come on up, let's go and do it. And I loved learning that. Again, it's something that I've never done before. I did kind of fight training in drama school, I guess, but there's something about when you're doing it with trained professionals, like stunt people who have trained for years doing this, and you feel how much they're willing to trust in you when you're throwing axes at them and swords and thrusting for them. That was an amazing experience, and I felt really empowered learning that new skill.
Like I said, you've been choosing characters and stories that also kind of empower the female characters in it, right? I don't think it's an obvious thing, but I also feel like you are trying to approach that way. Is it true, or is it an assumption? Or is this a wrong kind of assumption that I'm making?
No, yes, I think you're right. I mean, I think like when I think of the other characters I've played, like specifically with Extraordinary, like Jen is, it's quite refreshing, I think, I found, to see a character who is on paper quite unlikable, and a female character who's unlikable and not pristine and not perfect and not, not like kind of done and pretty and primed all the time. It's exciting to see a character who's just quite real, and for that to be a woman, because often we see female characters being side pieces or being, prim and proper on screen. So to see a character that's not like that was absolutely empowering as an actor, and Emma, the writer of that show, did an amazing job. And I think similarly with this, like I'm playing a character in My Lady Jane who's completely against, and because of who she is and the secret that she's hiding, has been forced to go against the grain and forced to go against the society in the structure in which it is at that point. And I think the way Jem has written her is that she's gutsy and bold and brash, I think overcomes, let's say, the structures that are put on her in a patriarchal sense, but also in a discriminatory sense when you think of the Verity and Ethian fight that's going on.
All she wants to do is fly away.
All she wants to do is let her fly away.
Just let her fly away.
Yeah.
This is that moment, the romantic moment of the show. Romantic or steamy or whatever you want to choose. For you, take a pick. And your favorite romantic track, the favorite romantic couple in the show. I
think one of my favourite moments is in the tavern between Guilford and Jane, when just after they've just met and they're kind of having that sparring match between them, and then you see Guilford kind of, when the Ethians arrive, you see him drag her into like the safe space under the stairs.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where they get very close and you can feel like the lust and the draw that they have towards each other. And I think then when, that doesn't develop like that, I think that's the first moment when you're like pining after them, going, please just do something. I think that moment is beautiful and so well shot and acted by them. And I have an adoration and just love for Stan and Francis is the relationship. I just think it's so brilliant and hilarious and like physically comedic, every element of it. And I love the power dynamic between the two of them, and that Francis absolutely has control over Stan and she can kind of pull him around like a dog.
Absolutely gorgeous people throughout the show. So I want to know, if you had to pick someone for your character, to hope that maybe she can fly away in peace with that person, who would you pick?
I wonder. She meets some of those Ethians in the camp at one point, and you can tell that there's obviously a bit of a flirtation there. There is. And there's also the guy who, played by Tom Derwent-Pritchard, who turns into a pig. And I think when we were shooting that, we had a real kind of a moment to improvise, and the things he was coming out with were just epic. And I think, I just found them hilarious. So maybe with him, I can't remember what his character's name is, but he turns into a pig. It's very funny.
Fair enough. And I did by asking you, there is a lot of comfort that you have to have with physicality. Right? Not so much in your case, but there are a lot of other characters that you have to be okay with nudity and stuff and do it in a way shot aesthetically. But as an actor, now today, are you okay with it? How have you dealt with that aspect? Where are your boundaries that you draw?
I think like it feels nowadays, I've been lucky enough to feel so far that once you lay down your boundaries and say this is what I'm willing to do and not willing to do, that they are respected. Yeah. But I think the people who are in the background who don't get enough credit are people like Ita O'Brien, who is our intimacy coordinator. Like, the work she does is phenomenal, and it has increased the safety of actors tenfold. You know, there's different steps that and precautions she takes, like check-ins after you've done rehearsals on those scenes. You do them that day, and then she sends a text just to check in and make sure you're okay. You get to see the scene before it's broadcast and when it's in the edit and stuff, like all those kind of minor things which seem like they may be arbitrary, but they're really not. It makes you feel like you have autonomy over that element of the work, which is exposing and yeah, I think then when you feel listened to, it really is beneficial to your work, and also it just creates better art, and it makes those scenes so much more beautiful when you can feel that the actors trust each other and trust the filmmakers and creatives around them to make that scene in a way that is, you know, safe and secure.
Lovely to hear that. Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah, great questions. Thank you.
My guests today are a part of such a fun, interesting period romance called My Lady Jane. They're here to talk all about it and let us know how history has been changed only to make it better. Hello there.
I love that.
Yeah, we're going to steal that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But you rarely get to do that, right? You rarely get to change some very problematic historical things and make it better. So I'm, you know, for a lot of people who've watched a lot of historical dramas and enjoy it, it becomes very difficult parts to go through those. So this must have been a very quirky take on that and so much fun, you know?
It was so much fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's what attracted us to it, was the comedy and the surprise, fantastical elements that you wouldn't necessarily put in a Tudor period, and the steamy chemistry between the leads, the romanticy. This is the word I've learnt today. Romanticy element of it.
Yeah, even the journey I go on, it's just so much fun, and just watching it, you can just see how much fun that we're having is playing about and enjoying this fantastical historical period. Yeah.
Any period film that have been historically accurate that you would love to change some facts about, just for the fun of it?
Oh.
Historically accurate film.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could say the Lady Jane one with Helena Bonham Carter. I remember watching that when I was younger and thinking it was.
They made one?
Yeah, yeah.
Of Lady Jane?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was so sad. Kind of sexy, I remember, but very sad, obviously. So it's been great that we've been able to change that, because and make it an empowered Jane who has a bit more
agency.
Agency, that's the word. Has a bit more agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
about you?
You know what? I'll just be honest. Nothing has come to mind when you said that.
Wolf Hall.
Wolf Hall. No, I mean, I haven't even seen that.
Can I assume, Jordan, you're not a fan of this genre, are you?
Me?
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest, I don't watch that much period TV shows, or much period films along this period of the English history. I don't really watch too much of it. I spend most of my time just watching Japanese anime.
That's a good way to spend
your time.
Yeah,
I spend a lot of time just doing that.
We study it so much, don't we? We study the Tudor period a lot, so
yeah.
You know, it's a nice break to have Japanese anime.
Nice.
But I guess with Wolf Hall, you know, anything that happens to all the poor women of Henry VIII's wives, I would change all of that.
That's a good one. Absolutely. All right. Here, of course, you said you don't like period dramas, but you obviously got a good taste of it here, kind of to last your lifetime. With all the attacks and the poisoning, you pretty much hit everything that history always does, trying to kill and finding out different ways. And that must have been really fun.
It was so much fun. I loved it. I loved playing the villain with all her different methods.
She's pretty good at it as well.
Yeah. Well, no, she's not that good at it actually in the end.
No, yeah. I mean,
She tries. She's a trier. She tries a lot of different
ways.
You
plotted
to
very
kill.
well. Very well.
But I think there's some growth she could do in her technique. Yeah. But it was a lot
Yeah. And Jordan, how was it defending yourself through it all?
These things don't happen to me in my life. So experiencing it through acting is just great. And to have so much fun doing it, and just like trying to find out who is doing what to me, got my dog along with me as like my little sidekick, and just going on this journey that I never would have dreamed to play this type of role. So yeah, I absolutely loved it.
Here you mentioned about steamy romances and chemistry, right, between the leads in the beginning. Let's have you both of you pick some of your favorite, moments that are steamy enough for the audience in the series as an audience.
Okay, well, steamy. I mean, the first time I think Guildford and Jane get it on, but also you've got Jane's mother.
Oh yeah.
Has a little steamy romance of her own. I won't say who, won't spoil it. Some might say Mary and Seymour are a bit steamy. I don't know.
A lot of people
not necessarily.
say that Mary and Seymour are very
And
steamy.
maybe Edward gets steamy. I feel like there's a lot of options, whatever your vibe is.
I do love the steamy moments between Jane and Guildford. Not when they actually do it, but just the tension between them. I think that I just love it. Just put me on the edge of the seat. Just are they gonna do? Are they not? Do they like each other? Do they not? What's this sexual tension going on? Like, it just keeps me at the edge of my seat. Keeps me edge of my seat.
When you're being a part of this world and you're doing all of that, it's more than just being play up as well. There are also a lot of emotions and a lot of serious things that have been dealt very lightly, and I feel that adds to this whole thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think we've seen versions of the serious and the sadness. That's been done and done brilliantly. And I think, in a way, with a different lens, seeing something, the same subject matter, but with a light touch, maybe you're able to take it in better. It's fresher, and it just having the different elements of the comedy and the romance and the action and the thriller, that just gives it a different flavour, which maybe everyone's ready for, having seen so many brilliantly straight down the line Tudor pieces.
Yeah, and plus there's so much going on around the world. It's just nice to watch something that is quite lighthearted, even though there's serious moments in the show, just to take it lightheartedly. Which is nice.
Escapist.
Yeah. Love that. Escapist.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jordan and Kate. I really enjoyed chatting with you guys, and I've really enjoyed the series.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.